afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Can you hear? Yes. We'll wait for a minute and then we'll begin because the others will join.
Okay.
We'll wait because we have to also complete within the time and send the recording over.
Okay.
So we'll wait. There is still a minute. We'll wait and then proceed.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome all of you to this virtual roundtable on urban agriculture and its implications to lifestyle on environment. At the outset, I would like to thank Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, uh, which have sponsored the center at SPA Delhi, the Environmental Information Awareness Capacity Building and Livelihood Program Center. And under the center's activities, we have organized this this virtual roundtable, and especially being Urban October, in order to participate, to build awareness, and exchange expertise in the field of urban development. The slogan for this year is Act Local and Go to Grow Global. It also fits into what we are talking now. Increasingly, India being life, which is lifestyle for environment, a concept which our Honorable Prime Minister had flagged during the COP last year. It is a movement and it is India's contribution to global climate crisis. It is conceived as a movement to mobilize individuals to become pro-planet. Reading some of the elements of this movement, if you want to change the world, start with yourself. Responsible individuals, climate action is the key to safeguarding our collective future. India is a low carbon country. India's per capita carbon footprint is 60% lower than the global average. This is because our lifestyle is still rooted in sustainable traditional practices. In fact, sustainability has always been a part of our tradition, culture, and values. So the life movement seeks to transform persons to pro planet people who would adopt sustainable lifestyles. And it is with this that we thought of talking about agriculture, and more so urban agriculture, because urbanization, climate change are two most important challenges of this century. And agriculture is something which our country has been an agrarian country, and still in 60%, a little more than 60% is still in the rural areas. And the main economic activity is agriculture. If we want to say what are we skilled, what is our thing, we are skilled in doing agriculture in all, with all its challenges. And also, there are within this practice of agriculture many clues of sustainability, which perhaps we still do not. So, that is why we felt that we must have a session where we could discuss and put forward some observations which we could share with the ministry. With this, I would like to welcome Mr. Kishore Kumar Joadar, former Chief Planner of Town and Country Planning Organization, who's had more than 35 years of experience in the field of town and country planning, and has contributed in perhaps all aspects of planning, in the capacity of working on projects, working has been member in many task forces, and he has also, if I would, if sir would permit me, I would like to just give an overview. Uh, he has worked on the urban infrastructure development scheme of small and medium towns, National Urban Information System, urban infrastructure development schemes for satellite towns around 7 megacities, Atal Mission, the Amrut. He has also led the team for Amrut reform monitoring. He has led the team for sub-scheme on formulation of GIA's based master plan from the Amrut mission. Uh, Coupled with this, Mr. Joardar is also a person who maintains an urban garden in which he has been growing vegetables, fruits. He's also been cycling to the metro. So apart from uh, being in this field, professional field, he's also a practitioner for lifestyle, for environment. So we felt that we could not get anyone much better to be able to share his experiences, and also we look forward, sir, to learn how you could maintain this while having a very, very busy schedule, because I know in the town and country planning organization, it's round the clock, all the time with the ministry and all the time all over the country. So your exposure, and especially urban agriculture as an activity to be performed, it, as a planner, we would like to hear from you. So with this, I would request Mr. Joardar to please share his insights and his suggestions to take this concept forward. Thank you, sir, for taking out time.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Meenakshi. Thank you very much for your nice words. I think you have told about the professions about me. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I just before I start, to share my experience, I just like to give a little background. Basically, I was born and brought up in a remote part of Assam, and since my childhood, we have been brought up with the nature. That time, that Assam Valley where I used to stay in a very green kind of environment everywhere with the plant trees. And then, when I came to Delhi in 1970s, when I came to Delhi for higher studies, I was missing my homeland, then also the kind of environment that we grew up. Then I thought, why not, I try something, that I get some satisfaction from my childhood days. Then I started, I got a flat in Delhi. It is in the southeast Delhi in Sarita, Bihar, and it happened to be the top floor flat. And as per the, the SFS rule of the Delhi Development Authority, the top floor, it is owned by the top floor person, the terrace. So I got a good terrace. For several years, I did not use my terrace. Then I saw, but I also saw that, what are the disadvantages, staying in the top floor houses. In Delhi's heat, every time it heats up, which the kind of temperature, I was not used to. So I thought, let me do something. Then I discussed with many people. Those days, I think this urban greening, green roof, and those concepts was not there. But I just started, let me think what's the solution I can find. Then, I started my this thing. That I also got some literatures, some studies, and some good practices elsewhere. I'll just give a small presentation if you permit, because
Yes, sir. Please, please.
I cannot, without showing some pictures, I cannot, I think, explain everything here. And
Yes, please.
okay. Yeah, actually, I'm giving the presentation on how, first I had the green roof. I created the green roof on my terrace. Then I thought, why not? I can even make the best use of my terrace. Then I have gone for, the solar PV cell. I got it installed. So now the combined, I find that, it is a very energy efficient, and also it's a very sustainable kind of, things, that I could achieve on my terrace. I'll just give you, the some of the literature that I studied, that green roof, the roof garden, it's not a very new concept. I think we have heard about this hanging garden, in Mesopotamian region, and there are also various kind of typologies, the green roof has. One is that, the various characteristics, and depending upon the various parameters like the depth of the material, its accessibility, then weight, and the plant diversity, cost, and maintenance. In my case, it is extensive. I did it, I should say, and it is the, these are the things that I try to follow. Then there, what are the, the advantages that I could find from the literature, and we all also know that first, that evapotranspiration and the shading which is created in the terrace, it could reduce, 90% of the solar gain. So ultimately, that your, temperature in the building, just below the terrace, you can reduce it by, 3 to 4 degree. And second is that, obviously, we can also save a lot of money on electricity. Then, because we don't have to, especially in summer, we don't have to, our my load on the air conditioning systems in the house, it comes down very drastically. And then, I could save a lot of money also. Then, green roof, if everybody does it, obviously it will also help in, urban heat island effect, it can be reduced. Then there are various other advantages you all know. I'll not go details into all this. Then, I also studied in Delhi because I got this, some presentation, some information from one of your student, ex-student from your department only. Then I could find that, Delhi has about, 118.9 square kilometer of the roof area, that houses. And then, if you then we have lot of potentialities. But, that most of the houses, most of the flats, even in the group houses, the roofs are not properly utilized. So, and another thing is, I have got this information that, total, the 93 in three under three urban local bodies in Delhi. we have 93 square kilometers of the rooftop area. Even we find that only 20% discount for old rooftop buildings. All buildings cannot have rooftop because of their age and because of the structural condition. Then then we thought, then ultimately there's a 14.9 square kilometer estimated that this much of area can be used, which can produce approximately 1.23 gigawatt of the solar power. So all this inspired me, how I can go. So the my green garden, my green roof, it has two components. One is that I use entirely from the my kitchen waste water, because per day it requires about 350 to 400 liters of water, particularly in peak summer. And in most of the Delhi's climate, we need a lot of water for watering the plants. So what I thought, getting this fresh water, potable water to use, for my plants is not very advisable also. And obviously, in a city like Delhi, where many areas, do not get the water. Then I thought, the entire, the kitchen wastewater, I will recycle it. And what I did is that from the kitchen, I pump it on the Mamti. The entire, after doing some, preliminary filtering, then that water through gravity, I water the whole area. And also I have installed on grid 5.5 kilovolt solar plant, because my house load was 6 kV. So what is permissible that I found from the discom is that they will allow me to go only for the 5.5 kilowatt. So that's a quite a good enough, because for a family like ours, I think 5.5 kilowatt is good enough. And I also have a small off-grid system. And today also, for since morning, there is no electricity in my area. So what I'm using my computer, I charge it from my the off-grid system, which I have in a 100-watt small plant. From that, my house is getting directly the electricity from the solar power only. So in 2006, actually before 2000, I just started in a very humble way. Then I learned while doing it. The first, then I got some plants, and I'm very. Then I make some bonsai, some of the things which can be done, and then but the thing is that the kind of roof that we have, it's a simple the matfaska is there over the RCC slab, and then we have some kind of grouting, and then water seepage and other problems have cropped up. Then what I did is that then I thought why not I insulate my entire roof. The first thing that I use is 1 feet by 1 feet the ceramic uh, tiles, and I tiled my entire roof. And you can see that the first I did my flooring. Because the roof has to be fully waterproof. Otherwise it will damage the structure, and we'll have the problem of seepage in my house. And then I gradually I thought even doing on the floor only is not enough. Then I had to do it on the parapet also, and also on the uh, top of the parapet also. It was just like become entire roof has become insulated. This is in 2006, and now it looks like this. Now these are the plants everywhere. This is my solar panel, and my even up to the this thing your the parapet wall, and on top of it all of this thing. I don't, even in the last few weeks there was a heavy rain. I don't have any problem of seepage in my house, and it looks now like this. And it took almost 10 almost 10-15 years to develop this fully, doing that. It also requires a lot of money. So I spent all my the 2005 and 6, my entire -6 pay commission, whatever the areas I got, I spent on my roof. This, and then gradually it gradually all the trees, plants, they started growing. And many of my plants, I got it because I had an extensive tour also in all over India because of my job. And then wherever I went, I could pick up always some local plants from there. Even I have a plants, from away from Nagaland, and also from Goa, some of the, wherever I went, I could pick up the saplings, then I started bringing, and I started, and most of them survive. And I do it myself. Sometimes I take the help of my one of the Mali, the gardener who comes here once in a week. He helps me out. And during lockdown, I found that my roof, when we were not allowed to go out, this thing, and I had so much of satisfaction that within on my terrace, and I could spend most of my time. It has become a very good night, very cool area. And then the various kind of, then I started with flowers and small permanent plants and this thing. Then I thought, why not I can grow some vegetables also. Then I started bigger grow bags, and also some big platforms that I made. And these are the seasonal vegetables they started growing. And you could see this bok choy. This is the, I got this seeds from online, and it grew so much in the last winter. And all those vegetables, and at least one menu in my house, it comes from my terrace. Like one dish, I could every day I could make. You can see that that I grew tomato also, and there was a very good lettuce. And it is always I think advisable not to go for the kind of vegetable which only has a this thing. It is better to have a leafy vegetable, so where you can eat the not only the leaf, even the fruits also. And also you should go for the high value crop, like the lettuce and other things. It's very costly in the market. So I thought, why not I grow this thing. Even this bok choy, this vegetable also, which is very common in Assam. So I started growing, and it grew very well with all organic. I only add twice a year. I add some organic fertilizers, mostly mixed with some cow dung, and then I do it, and still it is growing very well. And also the kitchen water also, one advantage is that I found, it has very small quantity of your detergent. But if you see that when you wash vegetables and other things, the quantity of the chemicals, it doesn't make any difference. And the water quality, it is very good for all plants. And also there is a little bit of oil also is there. That also I found, because edible oil, it also goes into that. But it also stops some kind of evaporation in summer, that when you do it. But then I thought, that why not enter water, my kitchen water, it doesn't go into the sewer. I intercepted it. I have then enter water, I use it for my plants only. And there are even I grew this pumpkin also, and various kinds of all seasonal vegetables. And last time I also tried this what is called the colored this pepperoni and other vegetables. And these are some of the summer vegetables also. And the various kinds of fruits, all these fruits, I have all these big cement pots, and I put it at least throughout the year, some fruit or the other is always growing on my terrace. And this is also the oranges, and I got it from Nagaland. And this star fruit, this I got from Port Blair, Andaman. And it is maybe almost 15 years old, still it is giving fruits. And these are then all seasonal fruits. And some of the fruits, like if I my that this squirrel and other things, they come and eat it. And most of the, I feel very happy that the I get a lot of birds, and squirrels all the time, they are roaming around on my terrace. And these flowers mostly the seasonal. Delhi's best time is in winter only. You get very good flowers throughout the it starts from, I think, the December up to March. You get very good colorful this thing, and it doesn't require much care also. Once the sapling survives, then obviously it will give start flowering. These are the, And I also made the few bonsai, which is you go to the nursery, they're very costly. So I tried myself to do it. And some of these bonsai is as old as 15 years old. And they also add to the the beauty, and it also gives a lot of satisfaction. And I also get many special visitors every day. My house is also very close to this bird sanctuary, Okla Bird Sanctuary. So now I see that throughout the year, that the birds, they come, and they sometimes they make nests also. You can see that the this is called that bulbul, the black, they also come every year. They will have 2 times in a year. I see that they come here for nesting. And in the right hand side you can see the tailor bird, from my plantain leaf, how they made it for all the material. And also there's a one dove, also this is also a regular visitor. He comes every year, to lay egg and make nests. Yeah, that is the thing. And wh- yeah, anything
Yeah,
about.
thank you, sir. You've made sure that you don't miss your connect with nature, as you said
Yes.
that you came from a place where and coming to this harsh urban
Mm-hmm.
life. Looking at these slides, we are transported to, I mean, with all these birds and nests and all. Now, to just say, if we have to sort of give this option of having urban agriculture,
Yes, yes,
I, I think it is many a times like uh, one feels that whether we
yes,
should
yes.
formalize it or not. Like, we do have landscape plans for institutions and other things
Mm-hmm.
for residential areas, because many people who are interested or who want to, they do manage to grow a little bit. But the scale at which you have taken this forward, and if it is giving you a substantial offset to
Mm.
in terms of your requirement from, because see, if we have to connect this to a sustainable practice, sustainable consumption, as we are now talking about, and lifestyle, I would ask you is, if we have to formalize this, in what way we can. And like, the concept of lifestyle is basically nudging people. When you want to nudge people towards uh, adopting to a sustainable lifestyle, can this activity also be taken, I mean, we can uh, you know incentivize it, I would say, or I mean, I'm just throwing these words because
Mm-hmm.
it is a green practice, but of course, it, as you said, it costs money. Also, you have gone ahead and also made, because this is a common complaint about this seepage that happens. But you
Mm-hmm.
have taken all the
Mm-hmm.
precautions, and in order to sustain this activity, you have looked into all the elements to take it forward. So, I mean, how much does it cost in terms of time, in terms of money? And then, if it has to be formalized, what do you, I
Mm.
mean, have suggestions in this direction?
Yeah, so far as the green roof, roof terrace gardening is concerned, it all depends on the the personal kind of. There are many people in my neighborhood in the colony, they come and see, and they also started. At least I know people who started, the 7 or 8 people of the residents of my area. They also started doing that. And another thing is, you are talking about the structural part of it. The if the most of the, because our building, it is a load bearing building. So another thing is that if you can, how much load it can take, that I think that you can discuss with some structural engineer, because you should not overload the buildings also, because that will have, for long term, it might affect the building. And then you also should have some idea about the where you should place your, the pots, and where, how much load it can take. And I think the worst thing is that if your roof is not insulated,
this. With this, sir, I would like to thank you, and we will be continuing with this further because, especially because in the context of India, many of the towns are like overgrown villages,
yes.
and agriculture and livestock are part of their life,
Hmm.
and their contribution towards sustainable lifestyles, like the entire home gardens. You go to the coastal areas, all spices are grown in everybody's house, and they are also very rich in biodiversity.
Mhm.
As your garden has now started inviting so many variety of birds, so it's not only green, it also becomes more biodiverse. So it's co-benefits, and then the biggest thing is it keeps, our rural areas are actually offsetting us and making us low carbon. It's high time that we also take the controls in our urban areas, so that, because as we become more and more urban, our low carbon factor will go down. I mean, this is at least it seems like that, but then still in our towns there is enough green areas in terms of agriculture, which we should have some systems to protect. So thank you, sir. And with
Thank
this,
you.
I would just like to share a small example. Let me just share the screen, please. This is a new town in Netherlands, Elmer.
Mhm.
Can you all see the?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. I have taken this from a presentation that they have made on Almer, because it does justice to the area. It is a town having a population of 1,85,000, and consciously one sector of the town was devoted to agriculture, in which the residents decided that they will be practicing agriculture, and it is part of the municipal area, and they have the city council sits together to decide what crops have to be grown. And the idea is the crops are decided on the basis of what the town requires, their consumption of potatoes, tomatoes, and things like that. People who also go and practice agriculture there, and right from 2005 onwards till date, this is being practiced in this town. If you visit this place, you will never get a feeling that it is having agriculture in such a big scale, because it has been interwoven in the urban planning system. And uh, I'll just go back to some statistics relating to this. Sorry, excuse me, my mouse is you are just having 3 kilometers travel from where it is grown to where it is being consumed. The emissions which are related, so they have energy in terms of bringing down the GHG emissions, and also whatever the waste is there is taken forward and used as manure in this area. So this is, we have been, these are concepts which seem that it is difficult to implement, but this is being implemented almost, it's almost 10 years now. So
Mhm.
it was right from the time this new town was conceived, in its planning process, this was factored in. So I thought we should share this experience, and if it is possible, because in the case of India, uh,
Mhm.
I'll just stop sharing this. In the case of India, we already have agriculture areas within our, if not many a time within the municipal area, and also part of the notified planning area. If we talk about the skill set, the people are practicing agriculture, they are dairy, they are running dairy. Many of the people still want to get their milk from the cattle directly, and a lot of the economy is still dependent on agriculture and livestock. So it's already there, and if there is a system in which we can formalize this, and it is economically
Hmm.
remunerative, as well as it is an occupation which is remunerative, because many a time such occupations are not taken as very there is somehow it is primary occupations anyway are the ones which are supposed to be for the downtrodden, which it is not, because they sustain us. So we are talking about these concepts, but we have to look that it is already being practiced in a big way in our country. We are
Hmm.
talking about circular economy. There is the people who practice this know how the waste has to be recycled and used for various purposes. All our organic fertilizers have been, now we talk of organic farming, but it has been practiced. So there is a culture, there is a tradition of urban agriculture and sustainable lifestyle. So why not take it forward and give it the place it is now starting to make? So, with these few thoughts, I would now open the round table for any inputs from the participants.
I think
Any?
this so far as the land use category is concerned, I think we are heavily biased towards the metro cities. Delhi, also Delhi master plan, it shows as a recreational area, and other cities, about 60% of the population live in the small and medium towns. Those smaller cities, already have this agricultural practices. Even Delhi also, what you said, within Delhi also, there are many areas. I remember when I first came to Delhi, in South Delhi, there is which is now Hatko place now. That the entire area, they used to grow, all seasonal vegetables. And because there is a nala going on, they could irrigate this land, from there. Like in Jamuna, belt also, there are these things. And I think we should designate, we should not say that all manicured, kind of, the recreational area, parks only, why can't this agricultural area also, can be one of the, you know, what is called the town planning or the category. And many of the city, now those who are born and brought up in a city, many of them hasn't seen the many plants. They don't know what is the rice plants look like, what is the wheat plant look like, what are the vegetables. For the children also, I think that it will be a very nice place, to go, instead of going to kind of the parks, the Millennium Park or that park and this park. This also can be to give a lot of, I think, added advantage for the city dwellers.
Yeah, yes. So actually, in Elmer, the children, the one of the days in the school are farm day, where
Hmm.
the students are taken and they
Hmm.
are shown how crops are grown, how
Hmm.
cows are milked, and things like that. And they get what used to be part of our daily life many
Hmm.
years back. Now, since that disconnect is there, so
Yes.
the children are taken. One day is farm day in the school.
Hmm.
So I think this activity, which is already there and its scope benefits, and also taking it forward as a lifestyle, can, and since food, how we are procuring our food, and how much energy goes into it, how much GHG emissions, and then the these are things which not only we have to be aware and synthesize, we need to adopt. I would again request, if anyone, Jaita, would you like to add something to this discussion? Jaita, I think. Anyone else? Vidisha, would you like to?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm audible or not. Actually, I'm outside right now,
Yeah, you're
so
audible
the internet.
because you are
Uh,
having first-hand knowledge from Nainital, so I thought you can add something to the discussion.
yes, yes. So in Nainital, what is happening right now, especially in the surrounding villages, the most of these households, they are having farms and they're growing for themselves. For basically subsistence kind of farming is happening here, but it is under great threat by wildlife and by climate change. So that is the observation that we are getting here right now. But yes, it is very important. It is a very important part of the livelihood because they completely depend on that for their own food consumption. So that really supplements their income. And because, as we know, the terrain is very harsh here, the climatic conditions are very harsh here, it really adds to their sustenance. So that's also my side, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Vidisha. Jaita, would you like to
Good.
add?
Sorry, I had some technical glitches.
No, no issue.
Good evening, sir. Sir, after two insightful presentations, actually, I was elated to see Jyada sir's presentation. He had a copper smith barbet and brown-headed barbet, which really excited me. That how biodiversity is invited because of urban farming. Yeah, urban farming has not been given its due in our country. In fact, our very definition of urban puts agriculture on the back seat. So, what we need to go forward with is now for understanding local food security, we can actually trace the food path that is there in the city and then work out what we can do with water, food, energy nexus and designate spaces, like as Sir has also mentioned, like for recreation area, we have agriculture spaces, as you have also shown, ma'am, in Almer, how they do for low-lying areas. We can have agriculture there. Plus, we can talk of green roof and biodiverse, agro-biodiverse roof, like what Sir has been doing. In fact, practicing. This is what I'm very upbeat about urban agriculture and local food security. It may not cater to the entire city, but gradually, even if it is does to 0.1% of it, how much of it is being offset, the GHG emissions, because of trucks and all, we can calculate that and gradually have an urban food policy in this direction. This is what I take from today's presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jaita. And I would request if there is anyone who would like to contribute in terms of any. Mr. Anuj Saxena, would you like to say something with your forestry background and observations that you had? Anyone else?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, Mr. Saxena, you're audible. Thank you.
This was a nice presentation. I heard it very concentratedly. And it is the need of the time. As far as my forestry background, I would suggest that uh, these things should be practiced and should be rather to say some demonstration proof and things like that, as Sir has shown in his presentation, should be there for demonstration type of thing, so that the persons can take away by seeing also, not for reading only. That will be more important. Thank you.
Thank you. So we many a time, like Sir was saying, that in his colony, many people have taken forward. Actually, these practices have to be uh, the pros and cons and actually seeing successful examples are the ones which can take forward this activity in a big way. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Saxena. Anyone else, please, from the audience? Charvi, would you like to add something?
Hello, ma'am. Good evening,
Hello?
sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. It was a brilliant presentation. It was very informative. Like, we could see how urban farming is so important here in the urban context, and many a times farming is associated with agriculture and rural areas. But here, even your presentation and sir's presentation made us believe that urban farming can be practiced so well, and so much of biodiversity can be invited in our urban areas, and this can actually help the environment, help the ecology, help the ecosystem services in return. So it was a very insightful presentation.
Thank you, Charvi. I would also like to share some studies that were done, of course, not in the form of slides, in terms of dissertations done in the department, where one of the outputs were there, people are preferring in their small kitchen gardens so because they have more confidence in the type of vegetables they are getting, that they are not grown in polluted water or things like that, which we keep hearing. For example, in Delhi, the entire floodplain of the river, the NGT has banned because there are certain sections in which toxic elements have been reported. I think so. That was also one. The other is in terms of cost. Those vegetables, which again are very costly, they can grow, and there are certain areas in the outskirts of Delhi where people are growing some of these exotic uh, vegetables so that they can offset supply also. So it is still, I mean, we do not have a kind of complete data in terms of what is the type of urban agriculture, what is its quantity, and how much economy it has been generating. So as we are uh, discussing it, these are certain points that we feel we need to look into, because it's like an activity which is there and you are not promoting it and you're letting something else, whereas this is still continuing despite no formal thing. So after taking a due study, we should, I feel, factor in as one of the major economic activities, rather, if at least if not major, where does it stand in all the thing, and to what way it should be taken forward. There could be certain modernization things in terms of marketing, in terms of what should be grown, so that ultimately the needs, I mean, is it supplying as one says, one is just for sustenance, personal, you're growing to offset your own demand. There are certain people who are growing it for supply also, especially the ones who are growing the exotic species. It is definitely for like I had seen in Ponta Sahib, also in the hinterland of the town, a lot of mushroom farming has started coming, and that is mainly used for, apart from self consumption, it is for marketing. So how it is being, what are the aspects, when what are the crops that should be grown, because we are not urban agriculture, not just for urban agriculture, it has to be supplementing, it has to be something which is paying back, and it is also a form of livelihood, because the people associated in tending, in maintaining these should be compensated, because it requires human resource, requires labor. So it is an area which should be looked into as a remunerative option and not as a dying economic activity. So would you like to also put in some?
Yeah, I think this green this roof. If you have your terrace garden, if you have your own garden, there are other things also. I think you are encouraged, to recycle your waste, like your kitchen waste. You can have your own compost plant. Initially, you may have to buy, fertilizers like the compost and for the market. But over there now, I stopped buying because whatever the dry leaves and everything, that mulch, it goes back into the same pot again. And sometimes when I have this compost, I make my own manure, I use it. So it's not very costly. It's only costly, initial stages. Later on, and I think that whole ecosystem is develops within the my terrace. So now, it became a self-sustaining kind of thing. And I think the plants, when they're together, I think, they help each other, to grow and live. And once you fall in love with your plants, I think you will do anything because you will try to make it survive. Then they will nurture it, you do it. And you also derive a lot of satisfaction out of it.
Yeah.
And also, that you will not feel that, like this is such a hobby that, even on holidays you do not like. I retired, from the government, that I don't feel bored. Always, something in my mind, then I have to do this and I have to do on my terrace. Then all plants is just like my family members. And also it is so enjoyable, to have my own homegrown, vegetables, isn't it? I also share with my neighbors. Sometimes it grows so much that, then I cannot consume. So no, it goes as a, kind of, on my neighborhood. So this has also leads to a lot of interaction. So many families, those who are interested, they come and discuss. Many strangers come to my house, to see all this. I think that's a kind of, I think nice way, nice sustainable way of living.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to party. I know yesterday only you came back from the tour and then to prepare for this. But yes, it is something which almost makes you, it should catch on, I feel. So, this successful um, roof garden is what we all who are living in flats should now try to look forward to. And our contribution to reducing our footprint, whatever little bit we are adding on by purchasing things from far off and all. So, thank you all. And if anyone has anything else to say, we have about 3 minutes left. So, anyone would like to chip in? Otherwise, then we can formally close the event. Any of our Envis centers? Anybody from JNU Envis, Sulabh Envis?
Um,
Yes, Shubhajit.
Hello, ma'am. This is Swati from
Yes,
JNU
Swati.
Invest.
Yes, from JNU. Yes, yes.
Ma'am, it was really nice, and sir, thanks for your presentation. And basically, lot of ideas pop up because individually, unless and until we have exposures like this, so it's like a maybe a small ball which can keep rolling. And we've
Yes.
also got a lot of ideas. And thank you for this initiative. And we would also add on to some greenery in our neighborhood
Actually, it
and
was
not.
the JNU lab that tested some cauliflowers near Okla, and they had that those results were the reason why NGT also said that we should not consume the
Yeah, the
vegetable.
pollute.
Yeah,
Yeah, the pollution. Yes,
in the
ma'am.
environmental science. Mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Thank you.
thank you, and Shubhajit. Acha, W. Okay, thank you, thank you. Shubhajit, you had raised your hand. Somebody had raised their hand.
Yeah, Shubho.
Shubha, you had raised your hand. Would you like to say something? Chojit, would you like to say? We still have a minute to go. Hmm. Yes, Shojit, you wanted to say something? Can you hear us? You can put it on the chat box if there is some issue with your.
Hello, ma'am.
Oh, hello, hello.
Is it audible? Good
Yes, it's
afternoon,
audible.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. As sir put it, the PowerPoint presentation is extremely good, and I'm very grateful to see it. Pardon for my English and Urdu. It's from the college days. It's a little bit, yeah. Just because I'm adding something कि Sunday जो बात बताया actually roof garden and all, I'm also trying this in my house. तो सर आप जो रूफ बता रहे थे कि जो वर्क लोड पड़ता है रूफ के ऊपर उसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए मैं कुछ वो फार्मर्स के साथ बात किया जो रूफ गार्डन करते हैं जो एक्सपीरियंस है उनके साथ क्योंकि जस्ट हम स्टार्टेड 1 or 2 years back also. So they are telling me कि use 20% soil and 20%
I think your voice is breaking little bit.
वो kitchen waste जो होता है it's the main thing the manure and like max hello
हाँ, वो वॉइस
Hello.
थोड़ा ब्रेक कर रही थी
and
आपकी.
use ma'am audible
हाँ, ऑडिबल
Hello,
है
ma'am.
बट थोड़ा बीच बीच में कनेक्टिविटी चला जा रहा है.
okay now it's audible no.
हाँ हाँ, it's
Yes,
audible.
yes.
Okay I'm just saying कि ma'am the I'm just saying कि in the fertilizer use 20% soil and 20% compost and the rest of the part is we can use coco peat which is वो नारियल वाला जो होता है ऊपर का वो गार्डनिंग के लिए बेस्ट
yes.
होता है क्योंकि those things are more lighter than the soil actually. So actually when I am starting me and my mother so my पापा वाज लाइक कि तुम हमारे रूफ के ऊपर बहुत एक्स्ट्रा डेड लोड डाल रहे हो जिसके जिसके चक्कर में हमारा मकान खराब हो सकता है तो आई एम शिफ्टेड इनटू कोको पिट एंड इट्स रियली वर्क रियली गुड एक्चुअली सो एज सर टोल्ड कि ईच एंड एवरी डे in his house one meal from her his kitchen.
Yes.
So my home is running
मैं आपको
now.
मैं आपको इसके जवाब देता हूँ. पहले जो 20% मिट्टी चाहिए या ये चाहिए एक्चुअली कोकोपीट तो चाहिए जब आपने उसमें नर्सरी जब छोटे छोटे प्लांट्स को बनाने के लिए कोकोपीट आपको
Yes,
हर
sir.
प्लांट्स
Yes, sir.
की तो जरूरत है नहीं. शुरू में जब आप सॉइल जो भी आप मिट्टी लेके आते हैं उसके साथ आप सिर्फ गोबर ही मिला दे तो बहुत है. ड्राई गोबर आपको तो महंगा कंपोस्ट या क्योंकि कोकोपीट और जो क्या बोलते हैं बाकी जो चीज है जो आपका नर्सरी में मिलता है तो बहुत कॉस्टली है. कोकोपीट आपको तब चाहिए जब छोटे छोटे फ्लावर्स जो आपने सीजनल जो फ्लावर्स लगाते हैं जो पॉट अगर छोटा है उसके मॉइस्चर रिटेन करने के लिए और सॉइल थोड़ा लूज रहते हैं कि रूट्स आसानी से मतलब उसका अंदर पेनिट्रेट कर सकता है. तो हर प्लांट्स के लिए आपको जरूरत नहीं है. अगर आपके पास कोकोपीट नहीं है तो बाद में जो भी आपका जो लीव्स जो ड्राई होता है जो भी चीज होता है उसको आप यू पुट इट बैक इनटू द पॉट. वही क्योंकि ओवर टाइम आपका जो पूरा जो सॉइल है जो पॉट का है वो आपका से पूरा फर्टिलाइज हो जाए. लेकिन दूसरी सबसे बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है कि जो जो मतलब बड़े बड़े जो पेड़ लगाते हैं फ्रूट्स की उसकी रूट्स इतना आपको बढ़ जाएगा कि आपका पॉट के अंदर में आपका सॉइल रहेगा ही नहीं तो रूट ही बढ़ जाएगा. आई थिंक देन यू हैव टू रीपॉट इट.
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
उसमें पॉट से उसको निकाल के आई थिंक यू कैन यूज अ सिंपल सॉ उसको आधा रूट आप काट ही दीजिए नीचे से. उसको दोबारा आप उसमें डालिए तो दोबारा देखिए वो ग्रो करेगा क्योंकि पॉट में कोई भी चीज ग्रो करना और मिट्टी में ग्रो करना उसमें बहुत फर्क है. बिकॉज मिट्टी में
हाँ
तो
हाँ सर,
उसको तो
वो
एंडलेस
है।
जगह मिल रहा है, उसके रूट्स चला जाएगा, लेकिन बड़े पॉट में तो नहीं जाएगा। बड़े पॉट में तो उसी का अंदर रूट घूमता जाएगा। हाँ, जैसे आपने जो
एग्जैक्ट ठीक सर।
प्रूडिकर टाइप पे उतना नहीं देना पड़ता है। लेकिन अच्छा, ये सारे टिप्स एक्चुअली इसमें है, लेकिन होता है कि ऑनलाइन या बाकी यूट्यूब में जो आता है कि वो हर चीज आपको उतना ज्यादा आपको यूजफुल नहीं होगा। यू कैन ट्राई योर सेल्फ। और एक बात है कि उतने एक्सपेंसिव आपको नहीं चाहिए। ये जो रेशियो है 20%, ये सारा चीज, you avoid using any chemical, fertilizer or anything in that.
नो सर,
और किचन का जो कंपोस्ट है
I'm
वो
just
सबसे अच्छा है।
एग्जैक्टली किचन कंपोस्ट एंड वो जो होता है क्या, सरसों का जो एक सरसों
जो
तेल
भी चीज है,
बनाने के बाद
हाँ,
जो हाँ हाँ।
उसको पतला पतला काट के वो दोबारा उसको उसी में मिट्टी में मिला दीजिए उसको।
So,
एग्जैक्टली सर।
so there are many methods. I also see our national program coordinator, Mr. Rajneesh, and also from the Envis Secretariat, Mr. Ravi Goswami,
थैंक यू मैम।
to
थैंक यू
having
सर।
joined. Thank you so much for also uh, giving the insights. Just to inform, since we are towards the tail end of this round table, today we had Mr. Joadar, who had given a presentation regarding his terrace garden, and it is much more than a garden because it is also offsetting his energy consumption, because he has solar panels on top of the garden, which is not only giving shade to his plants but is also giving I mean, as he himself told us, that his electricity bill is almost nil, which used to be about 7,000 per month. The other was in terms of his entire vegetable requirement, or some meals are totally from home. So, in terms of his footprint for food and all has been cut down. So, it has been a very sustainable practice, and it is something which he started out of interest because he wanted that bit of green which he was missing in this urban area. And having been chief planner at the town and country planning organization, we felt we should invite him so that he can tell us how this could also be taken forward as a sustainable practice and formalized, because most of our cities are still, as he himself was saying, almost 40% of the small and medium towns, 40% of the area is agriculture. And being agriculture, it is one is it's a green land use, it is recharging water, it is offsetting our demand on transporting goods and services. So we felt that we should discuss this because it should take forward the concept of lifestyle for environment, and we each one of us can do something which will give so many which can give the co-benefits, and what our country and our honorable prime minister has envisioned to have pro-planet people. And it is, as they say, it takes every drop to make an ocean. Every person's lifestyle will result into a sustainable development. So with this, I thank each and all of you who has participated in this discussion. And once again, Mr. Joadar, thank you so much for making us feel that it is possible. And I again take this opportunity to thank Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, and the Environmental Information Capacity Building Livelihood Program, which makes us work in this sector and look out for new possibilities that are there. I would now formally close the event. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you.